love Hunger Games, and you'll see the significance of that later, hopefully. If not, you've just had a great little movie moment there, so enjoy. Okay, so today we are talking, I've done a talk that's called, same as my timer, that's called Refuse to Stay Behind. Have you ever have friends that say, you know, just kind of grab onto life and they don't just seize opportunities, but they see them in advance? Me and my friends have this little joke thing between us that we text each other. If one of us decides we want to go out, we text each other and say, you know, you're coming out, let's just go, spontaneous fun. And then if someone's lame and says, oh, I'm not really sure, you know, I want to be in my PJs tonight, and you get the text that says, live your best life. And basically that generally means, okay, come on, don't be lame, come out and let's have fun. And I got that text on Friday night when I was writing this talk, and I had to say, I can't. So you guys have to live your best life, because I wasn't able to on Friday night, but you know, we'll get it vicariously through this. So, yes, and I've got, there's a friend of mine who basically, her name's Lauren, and she will create opportunities. So we'll be out somewhere, and she's the type of person that will get VIP access into places. She'll get freebies from people that you just wouldn't even think would happen. And she, just kind of takes the bull by the horns. And the guy we're going to look at today in the Bible is called Elisha. And he was that type of person. He didn't just seize opportunities that were directly in front of him. He saw them in advance. He saw them coming. So we're going to read a passage. If you've got Bibles with you, or you can there's a Bible app that you can get on your phone called YouVersion, if you haven't got that. Okay, so let's go. It's 2 Kings 2, 1-14. When the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven in a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were on their way back from Gilgal. Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here. The Lord has sent me to Bethel." But Elisha said, "As surely as the Lord lives, and as you live, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. The company of prophets at Bethel came out to Elisha and asked, "Do you know that the Lord is going to take your master from you today?" "Yes, I know," said Elisha, "so be quiet." Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here, Elisha. The Lord has sent me to Jericho." And he replied, "As surely as the Lord lives, and as you live, I will not leave you." So they went to Jericho. The company of prophets at Jericho went up to Elisha and asked him, "Do you know that the Lord is going to take your master away from you today?" "Yes, I know," he replied, "so be quiet." Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here, the Lord has sent me to the Jordan." And he replied, "As surely as the Lord lives, and as you live, I will not leave you." So the two of them walked on. 50 men from the company of the prophets went and stood at a distance, facing the place where Elijah and Elisha had stopped at the Jordan. Elijah took his cloak, rolled it up, and struck the water with it. The water divided to the right and to the left, and the two of them crossed over on dry ground. When they had crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, "Tell me what I can do for you before I am taken away from you." "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit," Elisha replied. "You've asked for a difficult thing," Elijah said. "Yet if you see me when I am taken from you, it will be yours. Otherwise, it will not." And as they were walking and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went to heaven in a whirlwind. Elijah saw this and cried out, my father, the chariots and the horsemen of Israel." And Elisha saw him no more. Then he took his garment and tore it in two. Elisha then picked up Elijah's cloak that had fallen from him and went back and stood on the bank of the Jordan. He took the cloak that had fallen from Elijah and struck the ground with it. "Where now is the Lord, the God of Elijah?" he asked. When he struck the water, it divided to the right and to the left, and he crossed over. So, 2 guys, Elijah, Elisha. I still sometimes in the passage will mix them up. Elijah is the mentor. Elisha is his apprentice. Elijah was kind of the don of like these people that we call the prophets. And prophets are people who hear God and share his word to his people. And Elijah was kind of like the big guy he saw God move, he saw incredible miracles, he saw healings and provision happen, and God really used him incredibly in his time. And Elisha and this other group of 50 plus, it says, prophets were learning from him, but Elisha was kind of the guy that was closest to him. So the prophets, the other group, were saying to Elijah, do you know he's going to go? And Elisha was like, yeah, I know. Be quiet. Like, he's literally saying, quit your jibber jabber, shut up, I know. But he saw the opportunity. He saw what God could do through that situation and didn't just stay back at the bank of the river and not move forward.
That's really good.
Sometimes, do you know that you can make a decision without making a decision? When you're running a race, if you decide that you're not going to decide to do anything, you're actually not going anywhere. Everyone else may be running and ready, and they're ready to go. And if you decide to not decide, then you're still not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So you have to enter yourself into the race. You have to move yourself forward. You have to see an opportunity ahead of time. A lot of the time in prayer is so important when we're, it's our communication with God, it's how we connect with God. But sometimes we can be praying and we're not sure what's going to happen, but we're also not advancing. We're not trying to step into situations. A lot of the time when I pray, it's not actually that I need clarity, it's that I need courage.
Yeah.
I need the courage to step forward, to go into that situation, to walk into that place, to speak to that person, and to bring God's kingdom there, even if I don't know what he's then going to do.
Yeah.
So, often God can show you better than he can tell you. You just need to step in. So I want to be the type of person that when God says anything, when it seems like there's a situation that God is showing me, and I don't know quite what he's going to do, I still know what I'm going to do in that situation. When I don't know the next step that he's telling me, sometimes we don't hear it straight away. Sometimes he wants us to just be obedient and just step in before he reveals what it is. So I want to be the type of person that says, okay, I'm in, like, no matter what the cost, no matter what it takes. And Elisha was that person. He did that, and he stepped in ahead of time. So I've got this new coat, and it's really, really nice, thanks to Emma Green. And it's this great, it's like a great big sleeping bag, and it's so comfortable. And it's got this giant hood, and literally you can just walk around, and you just, it's so comfy. But it is comfy, and it's warm, and I walked to work the other day, and it was great until I got to a point where I had to look around to see if there was a car coming, because the hood of this coat is so massive that I have no peripheral vision. And the rain was pouring down, and I had to decide, do I stay with my good hair day and risk a bad hair day, or am I going to take it off to be able to actually see if I'm going to get hit by this car? And sometimes you have to remove and take the risk of getting a bad hair day, or someone saying something daft, or someone not understanding you, and advance forward, because otherwise you're going to get hit.
It's good.
Because you can't see what's coming.
It's good.
So Elisha heard lots of do you knows again and again. It says, one group, two groups, and then a group of 50. And it's like the amount of people that said, do you know this is going to happen? And, Jesus heard a lot of do you knows as well in the Bible. Jesus heard, do you know what she's done? Do you know who he is? Do you know that they're going to crucify you? Do you know they're going to betray you? And he heard it all. And he knew a bigger picture. He knew it was going to happen. Jesus knew everything. He knows everything. He knows everything about you. And he loves you. regardless of what you've done, who you are, anything. He loves you. And we often hear these do you knows as well. Do you know that no one in your family has ever got a degree? Do you know if you do this, you'll have no money? Do you know what they've done? Why would you forgive that person? Do you know that's a dangerous place to go and work in? Do you know that anyone that has ever loved you has hurt you? Do you know that your disease is incurable? Do you know that it didn't work last time? And Jesus, within us, enables us to reach out, to go, to forgive, to be brave, to apologize, to step in and refuse to stay behind.
Yes.
Don't stay at that starting block. You're not going to get anywhere. So, I want you for a minute, just if I can ask everyone to close your eyes and just picture, as I listed some of those things, there might be something or something completely different that God might be revealing to you about something that maybe someone said, a bit of a do you know in your life. And just want you to close your eyes and just picture that for a minute. Okay, so what do you want to see happen in that situation? Do you see yourself healed? Do you see your friends and your family finding Jesus? Do you see your city, your street, your nation transformed? Do you see freedom for your next step and provision along the way? So with your eyes closed, I want you to create a bow and arrow in your mind, okay? Just go with me. And I want you to pick it up, and I want you to aim your arrow of victory straight at the target, straight at that situation, and aim for what you want to see in that situation.
Yeah.
Straight at the bullseye. Now shoot. You've made a pre-decision. You've done it. It's done. You've aimed for it. Okay. Now open your eyes. Turn to the person next to you and say, I just shot a mind arrow. Mind arrow. Who knew? Fab. So, even Elijah, even the guy that was Elisha's mentor, said to him, stay here. And often, the facts aren't necessarily wrong. The facts are facts. And maybe Elijah just wanted some time to himself. He's proven in the scripture that the guy was an introvert. Maybe just before, was going to heaven, just wanted some space. And just stay here. But Elijah wouldn't settle for less than God's best.
Yeah,
he didn't want to miss out on a moment. He didn't want to miss out on a miracle.
Yeah.
And eventually Elijah got the picture. So it's a bit like the covenant that we make when we get married. For richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. And Elisha says to him, I will not leave you.
Yeah.
I will not leave you. I am in this for the long haul.
Good.
And I married Ben 9 years ago now. 9 years. Yeah, he's got to do something big this year, can I just say that? So I married Ben 9 years ago, and I committed to those vows. And I also personally committed to Ben a verse from Ruth 1:16 that says, where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. And that, for me, has been a real life verse that has been tested. And marriage isn't easy. Marriage is amazing, but it isn't always easy. And it could be easy to walk away. It could be just easy to remain comfortable.
Yeah.
It can be easy to just say, actually, I'm happy here. Like, this is a good place. This is somewhere I feel I could just stay. And God can bless you when you remain, but you don't want to miss out on more blessing that could come if you move.
Come on,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing.
So, I could totally listen to some of the do you knows. So, do you know Stockport's a hard place to plant a church?
Yeah.
Do you know you'll be worse off financially?
Yeah.
Do you know you never got a degree? Do you know you're too young to speak? Do you know you're busy enough as it is with a job, a husband, a home to look after, and 2 boys? maybe it's just easier to sit this race out. I've never been much of a runner anyway. But I have to remind myself, and we have to remind ourselves, that we have someone who just ignored the do you knows. Yeah. So the biggest fight often isn't actually from other people, it's from our own minds. And there's probably a situation where you can think of that it's one seed, one lie from the enemy, one thought that's placed in your mind. Hi, it's placed in your mind. That what happens is, one thing takes root in our hearts. One thought can it travels down and it sits, and it can fester and it can just disrupt what Jesus actually says about you. So Jesus heard, do you know who she is? Do you know what he's done? And Jesus said, do you know who I am?
Yeah. Come on.
He heard, do you know they're going to betray you? They're going to crucify you. And he said, do you know I am the resurrection and the life? That no one comes to the Father except through me.
Come on.
He knew it all.
Yeah.
He knew every single moment of what was going to happen to him.
Yeah.
It didn't just happen. He knew in advance. He saw it. And still he chose the cross.
Yeah.
He knew the bigger picture. He knew the greater story for you and for me. He knew he would be beaten, bruised, crucified, killed, buried. But he knew that there was something better coming.
Yeah.
He knew the power that was within him would raise him from the dead.
Yeah.
He knew that he would break sin, that he would demolish shame, that there would be people that would come to know and love him because of who he is, because of the relationship that he brings. He knew that he had the power to heal. He knew he had the power to forgive. He knew he had the power to bring freedom and to transform lives. And do you know what? The Bible says that the same power that raised Christ from the dead lives within you. It can live within you.
Yeah.
It's not just him. It's in all of us.
Yeah.
We just have to ask for it. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like a double portion to me.
Yeah.
That sounds like double portion right there. So, remember the who. Okay, this has got a little pen. The who that you can do all things through.
Hey.
Say that again. Say that again.
Remember the who that you can do all things through. It's Jesus. It's not in our own strength. I am not standing here today preaching in my own strength, believe me. But I remember the who that I can do this through. I remember the who that I can walk into any situation with. Now, there's a book that my parents used to read me as a kid, and I sometimes read it to our boys, and it's called Do You Know How Much I Love You? And I need to know. We all need to know. And if it's the first time today that you're hearing this, then later I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to that love. That Jesus loves you so much. You are worth everything to him. Yeah. You are cherished. You are loved. You are worth dying for. You are created for a purpose. And God has amazing plans for your life. You can refuse to stay behind, and you can step out and ignore the do you knows so that you can know Jesus.
Yeah.
So what was Elisha greedy for? Was he greedy for fame? Was he greedy for money? Was he greedy for recognition and thanks? Maybe he just, he could have said, actually, I want to be like you. I want to have this fame and, because Elijah was well known, but he didn't ask for that. He said, I want your spirit. I want God's spirit within me. And I don't know, if God asked me for anything, asked me if I wanted anything, is that the first thing I would say? Yeah. Is the first thing I would ask God for, I want more of your spirit. I want a double portion of your spirit. And I want that to be the case. Yeah. Right? I want to not miss one moment with Jesus. I don't want to walk a single day. I don't want to walk a single minute, a single second without advancing, without moving forward into more of him. I want to be greedy for more of God in my life. Do you want that to be the case for you?
Yeah.
This is good, Emma.
Don't settle for a single portion when there's a double available.
Hey.
Yeah.
Don't settle. Don't settle. Keep advancing.
Yeah.
So Elijah said to Elisha, you've asked for a difficult thing. If you're still with me when I'm taken from you, then it will be yours. So what Elijah's saying to Elisha is, can you keep going? Can you keep your eyes on me? Can you stay with me till the end, or are you going to give up at the last hurdle? And Elisha, it says, as they were walking and talking together. And for me, it's like prayer. It's like, are you walking and talking with God through this journey? But they were still advancing. They were still moving forward. I bet, what would you talk about in that moment as, you know that he's going to be taken to heaven? That's a crazy conversation right there. So what do you think? How do you think God's going to do it? Is he going to, come in with a flaming sword? Or what? They didn't probably, who knew what they were talking about? But that would have been an exciting conversation, I'm sure. And I bet Elisha didn't even want to blink in case he missed it. He must have been just don't go anywhere because I don't want to miss this moment. Elisha knew that God was going to do something really big if he was faithful.
Yeah.
Really big if he was faithful. And then it all kicks off. So, it just says it really matter-of-factly. It's Elisha gets taken to heaven with a fiery chariot and horses and, just a standard day in life. And this incredible encounter. And then Elisha picks up his coat and trusts that he has as much power in him, double the amount of power that Elijah has, and he walks forward and he steps into it. And he volunteered, you see the link, to Hunger Games. So Elisha didn't want to miss one opportunity for an encounter with his Creator. He didn't want to miss 1 second, and so he stepped straight in. Do you want that to be your story today? Yeah. To not stop, to not wait, to not wonder. Indecision is still a decision. It's still a decision. So don't let it take hold of you.
That's good.
Maybe you've spent your life opting out and saying, I'll let someone else do that. I'm not good enough to do that. I can't do that. Maybe they should just go for it. But you need to ask, are you still advancing?
Yeah.
Or are you settling? Volunteer as tribute. Put yourself into the games. Don't wait to be asked. Step up. Maybe it's at work. Maybe it's at home. Maybe it's in church. Maybe it's getting involved in a team or getting along to one of our home groups. Maybe it's about spending more time with God and putting your relationship with Him first. If no one steps up, then nothing moves forward and nothing is gained or accomplished. Have you ever experienced FOMO?
Yeah.
I experience a lot of FOMO because I like fun. So FOMO is fear of missing out. And I want to gain more spiritual FOMO in my life. I don't want to miss a single blessing that God has for me or for someone else through me. It's not all about me. I want to be a conduit for God's presence, for God's healing, for God's power in His work, in His people. So I may not know what God's going to do, but I know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to keep going. So maybe something today has resonated with you. Maybe your heart is beating that little bit faster. And when I was talking about Jesus and about the love that He has for you, maybe you felt like I was speaking straight into your story. And I want to say today that no matter what has gone before, no matter what's happened in your life, that you lay it at Jesus' feet and it doesn't matter. He is the do you know who.
Yeah.
He's the do you know who. And no matter what has happened, he's seen it all, He knows it all, and He loves you.
Yeah.
He sees your situation, He sees you, and He loves you. He designed you, He made you. He has formed you in your mother's womb. You are not an accident. If you run to Jesus, if you get on that starting block and run, then He will provide for you. He will comfort you. He will hold you. He will give you everything you need and more. So maybe this might be the first time that you've heard about this, and I want to say, if it's the first time, then in a second I'm going to count to 3, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to that love. Or maybe you've stepped clean out of the race. Maybe you've walked and run that race before, but you felt like you've stepped completely out of it and you want to jump back in. So just take a minute in the busyness of life to just pause.
Yeah.
You can refuse to be left behind. You can refuse to listen to the do you knows. You recognise them as facts. You recognise what that thing is, but you can say that you know something better. You know something greater. You know someone greater than that situation. Whether it's healing, whether it's provision, whether it's boldness. Maybe you need boldness to step out into that thing, into that situation, to speak to that person about Jesus. If it's today that's resounded with you in terms of the refuse to stay behind, and you know, please come and chat to us. We'd love to chat to you at the end. If there's something that you particularly feel like God's told you to do, so that we can keep you accountable to it, or get someone else to chat to them about it as well. So I'm going to count to 3, and if you want to respond for the first time, or if you've maybe stepped out of the race and you want to jump back into the race with Jesus, then I'm going to ask you to raise your hand after I say 3. So if everyone could just close their eyes for a minute. This is a special moment. 1. God loves you so much, but you may have fallen away. We have all fallen away from Him and maybe pursued a lesser life. Number 2, Jesus came and died for you. He came to break any chains, all your chains, and He said He wanted to set you free. He came to repair what was broken so that you can find your place and your purpose. Number 3, if you want to follow Jesus, you want to jump back in that race, or you want to commit for the first time to be with Him, I want you to raise your hand now. Thank you. Just give it another moment. Thank you. I don't want to miss one moment. I don't want to miss one opportunity. I want to be like Elisha and just step straight in. Father, let us be a people who don't miss a thing, who grab on, who volunteer, who step in place of someone else that might not quite be there yet. And Lord, just help us that in every situation, Lord, we know that you are our provider. Lord, we know that you have so much more for us, that you speak a better word for us. Lord, you speak a better word than the do you knows. Lord, you know it all, and you know what's coming. Father, you know who we're going to be, who we're going to grow into. Lord, you know who you are and the power that you have put within us. Father, I pray that when we forget, Lord, that you help us to remember. That you help us to remember that you are in us. Father, that it's not by our power, but by your power. And Lord Jesus, I ask that we will refuse to stay behind. Father, that we will seek after you in every moment. Father, I just bless everyone here today, and I ask that you will pour out a double portion today. Father, I ask for more of your spirit, for more of your power, for more of your love, for more of your provision. Father, for more of your comfort. Father, for more of you in everyone here today. Help us to be those people who refuse to stay behind, who ignore the do you know so that we can know more of you.